So first one, simple. Remember, a tense tells me the time of the action and an aspect tells me the state of the action. So what state does the simple aspect denote? And simple will apply to each tense, okay? So present, which is right now, before present, past, and after present, future, okay? So simple will be for each one. But what state is it? It denotes the state of being. It is the most basic, the most elementary state, the state of existence, the state of being. And it is for each one, simple present, simple past, and simple future. So something exists, something existed, and something will exist. So the example would be, let's say I sing, okay? In past, sometime in the past I sang, and sometime in the future I will sing. Of course, we have to mention the point of focus, at least, especially in these two cases. I sang when, so this is important because otherwise it'll be unclear. Okay, so I sang when, and I sang yesterday, or I will sing day after tomorrow. So this is simple. Something exists, something existed, and something will exist. Now there is a possibility that I want to talk about a past event. However, either I don't know when it happened, so I don't know the point of focus, or I don't want to tell you the point of focus. In that case, what am I supposed to do? For that, we'll have to wait. I'll come back to that. But just to revise, what is the point of focus? The point of focus is when on this line an event took or will take place or is taking place. So that's the point of focus. So the time reference basically, or the point of reference, or the point of focus. So this is simple. Let's get into little nitty gritties here. When am I supposed to use simple present tense? Except for what is obvious. So I'm supposed to use simple present tense in a variety of situations, but thankfully, all of them fall under a common theme or a common pattern. And what is the common pattern? So for this, you'll have to pay attention to the words that I'm going to use. We use the simple present tense to talk about events that were the way they are. Pay attention to the words I'm using, okay? We use the simple present tense to talk about events that were the way they are, that are the way they are, and as far as we know, they will be the way they are. To use different words, we use the simple present tense to talk about events that were like this, that are like this, and as far as we know, they will be like this. It'll become clearer once I give you specific examples. So for example, let's say universal truths. So when I say the sun rises in the east, what am I saying? I'm saying that the event falls all over the place. So it rises means, of course it does right now, but it also means that it rose in the east, and it also means that most probably it will continue to rise in the east. Second example, habitual actions. Let's say I go for a jog. What does it mean? It means that I'm doing, so I do, but I did and I most probably will. So that is the meaning of, I'll repeat what I said about the simple present tense. When am I supposed to use the simple present tense? I'm supposed to use them for events that were the way they are, that are the way they are, and as far as you know, they will be the way they are. So more or less events which are constant in time. So two examples I've given you: universal truths, habitual action. Third is when you're talking on or of or about literature or similar things, things related to stories. So a lot of times we use a simple past tense for these events. So for example, let's say you're reading a book, so you can talk about its character, that so let's say Harry Potter, so you can say Harry Potter went and did that. I mean, suppose you're telling a particular story or particular event from that book to a friend of yours. Harry Potter went and did that. So that's okay, but then ideally you should say Harry Potter goes and does that. So we are using the simple present tense. Why? Think about it. It follows the same pattern. Harry Potter, if somebody read that book 5 years back, Harry Potter went and did that. You're reading it now, he's doing it. Somebody will read it 10 years from now, Harry Potter will go and do that. So same. So remember, repeat. We use the simple present tense to talk about events that were the way they are, that are the way they are, and as far as we know, they will be the way they are. So that's simple present tense. Simple past, I've already told you, we will come back to when we don't know this or don't want to tell this. Simple future, there are times when we can use non-future tenses to talk about a future event. So for example, I can say, let's say, I am going to Paris next week. it sort of implies that it is planned. Okay, so I am going as against I will go. So we can use a present tense also for a future events. Now in this case I use a present progressive tense. Now I have a question for you. Suppose there is a sentence like the train leaves at 5 p.m. tomorrow. The train leaves at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So my question to you is this correct? So you can pause, think, and then reply. The answer is yes, it is correct, but it has a specific meaning. And the meaning comes from the discussion we had about simple present tense. When I say the train leaves at 5 p.m. tomorrow, I'm saying two things. One, I'm saying that it'll leave at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Second, I am saying that that is what it always does, meaning that is the schedule of the train, that is the timetable. It always leaves at 5 p.m. Tomorrow it's going to leave at 5 p.m. Compare this with a sentence, the train will leave at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Now, it may or may not mean that that's the usual thing. In fact, chances are that you're saying the train will leave at 5 p.m. tomorrow because you're trying to imply that there's a change in its schedule. Tomorrow it's going to leave at 5 p.m., whereas it may not be the usual schedule. Whereas if you say the train leaves at 5 p.m. tomorrow, you're saying that's what it always does. Okay, so this is the simple aspect with respect to each tense. Okay, the second aspect, progressive or the continuous aspect. So what state does it denote? Remember, aspects are states. As the name suggests, it denotes the going on states. A nice way of looking at it is it denotes the unfinished state. So at any given point of focus, something is unfinished, was unfinished, or will be unfinished. So I am singing. Sometime in the past, whenever I was singing, and future, I will be singing. Continuous, progressive, at any given point in time, present, past, or future, something is going on, was going on, or will be going on. Okay, now, is going on does not mean that it has to be going on at the time of talking. So, for example, if you say, you know what, I'm reading War and Peace, it does not mean you need to be talking like this. The book could be at your house. But what you're saying is that it is in the process of being read. It is unfinished as of now. So that's progressive. This is an easy aspect.